So, team, let's talk about this week in the news. We're going to start here right in Indiana with a little trip around the headlines I like to call Around the Corn. So, first thing this week, we all saw Vice President J.D. Vance was in the state on Thursday to meet with Mike Braun and at the state legislature regarding gerrymandering. That is our one big thing this week, and we're going to cover that in the final segment of the show. Spend the whole segment on gerrymandering, Texas, Indiana, and beyond. Also in Indiana this week, last Sunday, Beto O'Rourke, the former Texas congressman and presidential candidate, was in Indianapolis, maybe gearing up for another run here in 2028. Also, Indiana state agencies are outlining spending cuts in pursuit of a 5% reserve. Now, this is the May revenue forecast, which was very grim, prompted lawmakers to cut the budgets of most state agencies by 5% and then authorize those agencies to withhold another 5%. So we're starting to see the first batch of those spending plans this week. Also, FSSA, the Social Security Administration here in the state, is planning an aggressive new budget method to control the growing Medicaid costs. Um, Check out this stat. In 2023, the state contributed nearly $3 billion, or about 16% of FSSA's budget. In 2025, it was $4 billion, or about 21% of the budget. Going forward, the agency will work backward by assuming the state will only contribute 2%. So that is a huge, huge cut to Medicaid, which we've been talking about a lot here. And I want to pause real quick in these headlines and see if any of you folks have comments on these drastic Medicaid cuts. I'm going to start with you there, Ross.
Well, it's a train wreck. The plane is about to crash into the mountain, both with state's budget being in disarray and um, the massive federal cuts that that will kick in next year. That's one of the things about the big uh, allegedly beautiful bill is that most of the real pain, kicks in after the election next year, or after people have decided who they're going to vote for. But I mean, I think we're seeing something right here. Look, the state, we keep cutting taxes and capping taxes and losing sources of revenue. Um, it's just simple math. If you don't have the revenue, and then you've been relying on the federal government to uh, you know fill the gaps, and then suddenly the federal government says they won't, it's going to be a disaster. And I mean, I don't say that hyperbolically. It's going to be a disaster. People are going to die.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. I mean, we're going from 20% of the budget to 2% of the budget. The federal government says, okay, this thing's going to be up to the states. We're going to rely on you to bear more of the load. This is quite the opposite of that. Moving on in quick headlines this week. So, the Indianapolis City-County Council is one step closer to shortening curfew hours for young people in downtown Indianapolis. This story is from WFYI. At a meeting Wednesday night, the city's Public Safety and Criminal Justice Committee passed an amended version of the curfew proposal, which now heads to the full council with a recommendation to pass. Now, um, state law allows this, moving curfew by up to 2 hours when conditions necessitate it for public safety, but it is only a temporary measure, and the curfew hours are designed to expire after 120 days unless the council renews them. The state already has a statewide curfew, but the proposal for Marion County would shorten that to 9 o'clock on weekdays for 15 to 17-year-olds and 11 o'clock on Friday and Saturday. Brianna, you're in Indianapolis, right?
I am.
What do you think of this?
I mean, I think that there were a lot of issues with teenagers running wild downtown and getting into trouble. And we've seen a huge uptick just in the last few years of teenage gun violence. And so I
Mhm.
do think that the city needs to do something. We do need to do something. Is a curfew enough? I don't think so. I think that we need positive programming, things for these kids to do, like community centers and things like that. I think that just giving a curfew is not enough, but it's a good start.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. But the curfew's certainly not going to get the guns out of the kids' hands.
Absolutely
And
not.
yeah, so now you really have to wonder how much it'll help. I don't know. It's something to try, and you got to try something. So also up in the region this week, a former Porter County jail officer was charged with trafficking drugs to an inmate. And finally, the state introduced this week a new blackout license plate for an extra $90. Scott, you getting that blackout plate?
Not on your life. I mean, I get it. It's a way to raise revenue, but it feels kind of like it feels, I don't know. It's a vanity tax, I guess. Like,
I worry that this thing is like you know how American Eagle and Steak and Shake have sort of coded fascism into their branding. I don't I wonder if this black license plate is just going to be like a fascist calling card. I don't know. That's where I think this thing is
yeah,
going. But
yeah, that makes sense.
hey,